What is the best legal entity for your small business or side hustle? Stick around, we'll talk about that and much more today. Welcome to the Profit Dare. Welcome back to the Profit Dare. I'm Tim Kaiser. On this channel, we provide simple financial solutions and inspire savvy stewardship. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. So we're continuing, actually finishing the video today. We'll be finishing up my book called Next Level. We're going to cover 3 areas today: the Chief Technology Officer, the Chief Legal Officer, and the Chief HR Officer. So let's get into Chief Technology Officer. So having a small business or side hustle, there's plenty of opportunities for you to spend money and make a difference in your business or side hustle. You can easily throw money at technology and not really solve the problem, though. There's always trade-offs with your money, and you want to make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck.
Talk about bang for your buck, am I right?
So let's just talk about a few of them. First of all, let's talk about social media. That's the big one that everyone seems to have an idea about, and maybe we're not totally leveraging it to the best of its capability.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Social media is a two-edged sword, though. It can be a great way to market your business in a no-cost or low-cost way, or it can be a death knell for some companies. So going into social media, realize maybe it's best if you separate your personal from your business things. And I get it, when you're just starting out and you are, working through it, you're trying to get your business off the ground, you might just be doing things in your own name. But keeping the lines clear between the 2 areas is probably a good thing for you. If you're having a really, really bad night on social media and you post something that could be considered derogatory or just negative or taken out of context, because we all know things on social media obviously get taken out of context, it's best to have it separated, right? So I would recommend making sure you know what your brand is. Go back to the Chief Marketing Officer. Know what your brand is. When you're posting on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, YouTube videos, Snapchat, all the other ones, TikTok, make sure you are focusing on what your brand is and you're representing your brand well. It's probably not the best time to get involved in political fights or wars, although some people do that and it may be good for their brand. But if it's not, if you're a dog walker, a cleaning business, a restaurant, a taco truck, whatever, it's probably not the most wise thing to do to pick a political side and all of a sudden divide your audience by half. So I would strongly urge you to be really cautious when you're posting things. Make it about your brand, build your brand, and avoid landmines as much as possible. Also, stick with something that you know well, and you can easily get diluted in social media.
On Facebook, yeah.
Not on Facebook.
It's, if you know Instagram well, then do Instagram, right? And if you know Facebook well, use Facebook. If you want to do TikTok, do TikTok. But trying to be all things to all people might just be too much work for you, unless you can afford to outsource that work to a social media manager, which we'll talk about in the HR part. But stick with something you know well and become an expert as much as you can in that one area. Again, so side hustlers, small business owners, most of us don't have the resources to outsource this and to hire somebody to do it. Some might, but I would, learn all you can on YouTube. Find out the best ways. If you need to spend $100 on a course on how to use Instagram for business, do it, and you probably will pay off. There's also, understand this about all those social media platforms. If you have a large following in one of those areas, let's say you're on Facebook and you have 25,000 people following your business page, understand that they own that content and they own that list of people. You don't own it. You're the product. And you want to make sure that you know that, because if all of a sudden something goes wrong, you do something that's outside their agreement, or they just get a bad idea about you, they can kill your line. And if your business is dependent upon that, I would strongly it could kill you. It could kill your business quickly. So what I recommend, and this might seem counterintuitive to some of you, we talked about this a little bit in the Chief Marketing Officer part, but it's actually using a email list and a website. Some people think email's dead. It's not dead. It's still the biggest area of people, and it provides more bang for your buck than any other situation. So if you have a list of people, a mailing list, for the most part is low cost. Sometimes it's free up to a certain amount of people. but you own it, and you can upgrade and pay for it, but that list is yours. People go into a website and they put in their name and stuff, and then they give you their email address. Then it's up to you to nurture that person, nurture that lead, have them hopefully become a customer, or just someone who hears from you regularly. You want to make sure that you own it, because you can't, if you own the list, someone can't take it away from you. You have the list still. And so I'd recommend getting an email list set up through your website. And there's plenty of providers out there. I personally use one called Brevo. It used to be called Send in Blue. And through my email list, I can send 300 emails a day for free. And I don't have to do that right now. So if you have 1,000 people on your list, you want to still keep it at zero cost, then you send 300 emails one day, and you send 300 emails the next day, and 300 emails the next day. And you don't ever go over that list, and you just manage it properly. Now, if you have 100,000 people on your list, you probably can't do that. But for those of us who are smaller in this way, there's a way to make it no cost, low cost, and affordable. And your website, every small business needs a website. You probably could get away with a Facebook page or Instagram page, whatever it is, presence on LinkedIn or Twitter, whatever. But you would want a place where people actually can go to. And your email or your website, you want to make sure it is simple to understand. People should answer a couple questions: who you are, what you do, and how can I buy or sign up or whatever. It's not a time to be cute. It's not a time to use kind of wonky insider baseball type of language. It's the time for you to be really clear. If you're a cleaning business, basically it should say, "We clean businesses." This is who we are. And this is how you sign up. This is how you get a quote. Make it really easy. And then also make it really easy for people to sign up for your email list. And you don't want to give people too many options, because we are very distracted people. And if you ask them to do a million different things, sign up for a Facebook page, sign up for my Instagram page, sign up for my email list, do this, buy my book, whatever, it can get diluted. So have one simple call to action. So as a chief technology officer, you get to decide what software or what social media programs we're going to use, what website provider we're going to use, what email system we're going to use. And then there's more things too. You have things like telephone, your regular email address. Do you want to have a Gmail account? It works for some people, but you can sign up through either Microsoft or Google. You can sign up and have your email route through your website. So if you're wecleanhouses.com, and it could be like Nancy at wecleanhouses.com, which seems a little more professional than Nancy Johnson at gmail.com. And so that you can actually differentiate yourself professionally that way. And it costs anywhere from $6 a month. And then you get, and what you decide, if you like Microsoft, if you like Google, if you like Gmail, if you like Outlook, that's your call. But that's something you do as the chief technology officer. I would recommend doing that. It's a little, can be a little bit hassle to set it up through your website. But I'm telling you, everything that I've done on my website and email stuff, I've learned by watching YouTube videos. And I just don't want to spend $2,000 or $4,000 having somebody work on my stuff. Now, there'll come to a point where it gets too complicated for me, and I need to be a little more sophisticated. But as of right now, as a side hustler, small business owner, I can do all this stuff on my own with just put a little time in. And I'm not the most tech savvy person, and so I believe if you're especially younger than me, this stuff probably becomes a little easier for you. But that's the chief technology officer. How about selling stuff? The days of taking cash and writing checks are pretty much long gone. So you want a payment processing opportunity. This is a chief technology officer. You get to decide this as well. So I use Square. It's really simple. I have can take payments through credit card or phone tap or whatever. They charge me a couple percentage points for each transaction, and then a set fee for each transaction. So mostly I'm selling books when I'm doing speaking engagements. And let's say if I sell a book for $10, it probably cost me, I probably make like $9.50 or something. I don't know. It's not anything. Maybe I don't know. It's insignificant, immaterial, and it's easier than trying to carry cash around, because there is a risk to carrying cash. I can lose cash, right? Cash can get stolen. There's a lot of things that go with that risk. Going back to our chief risk officer lesson, right? So that's something else is that. And also, what software program are you going to use? If you're writing, you can use like Microsoft Word, or you can use Google Sheets or Google Docs, whatever it's called, Excel. And when you buy your email address thing through those programs or through Microsoft or Gmail or Google, you get the things that they use too. Now you can use a free version of Google Docs and Google Sheets all you want, but if you want extra storage space and you're already buying the email address, it all comes standard. So I'd recommend finding out which lane you want to live in and find that. They both work fine. They both have drawbacks. I cannot. I use Gmail for the most part for my stuff, and I use Google through my email address, but I can't format my books in Sheets. I have to use Word, which is kind of a hassle. So I need both of them for different reasons, but I do most of my writing in Google Sheets or Google Docs. And I use Grammarly to help me keep my spelling errors down to a minimum. A lot of things that you can do there, right? Do you need a CRM program? Do you need, a customer, relationship management system? Most of us don't, that are small business, they're side hustlers. How about scheduling software? If you are a dog groomer, a barber shop, or things like that, most people now don't want to call and talk to somebody and say, hey, when are your appointments available? They go, oh, I have, it's much easier to go into someone's calendar and look what's available and pick one that matches your schedule without talking to anybody, and then you show up. So Calendly is one I've used. There's all kinds of different scheduling softwares out there. Some are more designed for restaurants, beauty salons, nail salons, whatever. Find out what works best for you. But these are all the things you get to wear the hat of the chief technology officer. And the last thing, there's still a lot to do. And in the book Next Level, it covers that. Recommend keeping your technology down tight. Cybersecurity is a legitimate billion-dollar business. So I would recommend keeping your passwords safe, changing your passwords on a regular basis, make them really complicated. It's a 8-digit password is easier to crack than a 16-digit or a 15-digit or 20-digit password. And I would recommend you be really diligent about that stuff. Secure Wi-Fi, all kinds of things, whatever you can do so people can't hack your systems and get into it. And then, I said one last thing is accounting software. Most people use QuickBooks. That's really simple, but there are other options available. And depending on your needs, it may not work for you, but it's another decision you have to make is accounting software. And you want to keep your books as clean as possible and keep the IRS out of your back pocket or out of your life, out of your office, whatever. You don't want them up in your business all the time. So keep your books clean. Make sure your taxes are paid on time, and those accounting software programs can do that. And they all link to your bank accounts, link to your credit card processing software, and they all make it a lot easier. So you're not just having a big box full of receipts and printing stuff. Print as little as possible. Make it really simple. Automate and digitize as much as you can. And the chief technology officer is one most of us can do on our own, but there will be a time when you need to have some professional guidance. So find someone in your area that does that work for setting up networks and things of that nature. But this is a real big deal as chief technology officer. So next one I want to talk about is the chief legal officer. Now, this one is one where I totally recommend that you find an attorney in your area. If you can't afford an attorney to do the things you need to be done, you probably need to put the pause button on your business or side hustle. Now, if you can do it, if you're, again, let's say something simple as a dog walker, you may not need an attorney to do this, but you want to at least have an attorney available for when you decide what legal entity you're choosing for your business. Now, the most common type of legal business in our country, in the United States, for those of you in the United States, is a sole proprietor. Now, sole proprietor is just me. My name is Timothy Kaiser. So I would go to my township or county clerk and say, hey, I want to open up a DBA, a doing business as, and I would say I want to do business as, let's say, the Profit Dare, and all I'm going to do is I'm doing videos, I am doing public speaking engagements, I'm selling books, and I have a website with ad revenue, real simple things. And so I go down there and they take a picture of my driver's license and I pay like a $5 fee. And then they give me this piece of paper. It's a DBA certificate, and that's my legal documentation. I can file it as that, right? I get an EIN number from the federal government to pay taxes on my profits and sales tax if I have sales tax, and then that's it, right? Real simple. It's just me. Now the drawback to that is it's just me, and if I get sued, I get sued. Also the upside is this. All the profits of the business are mine. I'm not sharing with anybody else, All right. So sole proprietor is the most common way, and most of people in our country who are doing side hustles or small businesses can survive on a sole prop. It's a strong business model. You can do it. I'd say probably half the people in the country, that's what they do. The second kind I want to talk about is a partnership. Now, a partnership, just a regular general partnership, is this kind of similar to a DBA or a sole proprietorship, except for it might be a husband and wife. Two people, 50-50 owners. And that has the same drawbacks and benefits of that. The partners, they take on all the risk, and then the profits are divided evenly between the two people. If it's someone that's not your husband or your wife or your spouse, the problem you have with that is having another person in your business making decisions as a team is much harder than making a decision individually. So there's that one. Another one that's a common one in our country is a limited liability company. Now, limited liability company is you have members of the organization, and you can have, some states allow just one member. The benefit to this is there's a little bit of space between you and the company. So your business is the limited liability company is the business. So let's say it's, We Clean Houses LLC, and that is you. That you own that. But you personally are a member of that LLC. So there's a little bit of space between the liability is limited in that case in case things go wrong. And those are pretty easy to set up. Most people can do an operating agreement online with their state, pay, $50, $100, depending on your state, to file it. And it's not real onerous legally to maintain it. You pay a fee probably once a year to keep it active. And then you get a tax ID number aligned with that. And then now you become a member of that. You personally are a member of that limited liability company. Drawbacks is, you have other members possibly with you that you have to share decision making in. If you're a member managed company, if you're a manager managed company, make yourself the manager. But again, there's limited liability, but the taxation for those, just like the sole prop and the partnership taxation, the profits come through you individually as members. So let's say that company, limited liability company, made $100,000 in a year profit. The members will be taxed by the ownership percentage, that $100,000. So you're getting taxed on money where you may not receive money. So you're taxing the profit, not necessarily how much money you get out of the business. So there's a little bit of tap dancing in that area to make sure it works well for you. But this is a very common ownership structure. It's simple to set up, simple to operate. And the other one I want to talk about is the regular C corporation. And this is what you would think of your big companies, your Exxons, your Walmarts, your McDonald's. Those are C corporations. And those are set up where people own a percentage of the company, and then taxes are paid. The company pays taxes on the profits. The individuals only pay taxes on dividends distributed to them. So that's another one. Those are more complicated to set up, more complicated to operate on a regular basis, require like a president, vice president, treasurer, things of that nature. But that's really all I want to kind of give you a highlight on about what's the best one. It depends on your situation. I think most people can operate as sole prop easily and inexpensively and efficiently. But if you need a little more help, you can go the LLC route. But if you want to sell ownership shares and get investors into your company, most likely you need to do a C Corp. But this is something that if you just go and do a sole prop, I'd say go down to your township clerk or your county clerk and start it. But if you want to do LLC or a C Corp specifically, I highly encourage you to find an attorney in your area that specializes in this stuff, because there can be ways that can cost you money down the road or save you money if you make the right steps. But few of us have the requisite legal acumen to make this happen. So I would, again, caution you, inspire you, encourage you, whatever, to really think about finding an attorney that knows your situation. And you can learn a lot on YouTube from people, a bunch of attorneys out there, but your situation, your particular business really matter, and your state specific matters. So if you want to save yourself from heartburn down the road, you might pay an attorney $500, but if it saves you $1,000, you're ahead. So that's something to consider. And, documentation, contracts, all these things, you really want to have an attorney look these things over. So I would find an attorney, lean on them as much as you can, and use them when it's necessary. The final thing I want to talk about today is the Chief Human Resources Officer. And this was a common thing in most businesses, not so much anymore because a lot of it's self-help stuff where you just kind of do your own thing. But here is where basically you're hiring and firing people. And that's what I want to focus on primarily for Chief Human Resources Officer for small businesses or side hustles, is that you will need help from time to time. And we talked about earlier setting up your own website, doing your email list. Maybe you just say, I can't do this. And so you need to find someone who can do it for you. Then you don't have to hire an employee, so to speak. You can hire a contractor. You can go to places like Fiverr or Upwork or similar places, and you can find people who are doing it, and you have tons of ratings out there, and you hire them as a contractor for you to do a very specific task. You know the price up front, and they do the work, and then you're done. I've worked through both before, and I've had good success. I've had book covers designed, I've had logos designed, I've had all kinds of things designed, and I've done it my own way sometimes as well. But sometimes you get into a thing where it's kind of like, I could be out making money, or I could design this whatever. I need someone to do it for me, to do my website for me, or I'm going to spot my website where I need to take it to the next level and I want someone to help me, and then you can do that. You don't have to hire people and put them on the payroll. If you're a house cleaner, window washer, whatever, maybe you have a big dog walking business, you can be like Uber and Lyft, and you can make people contractors as well. You can pay them a wage, and you can hire them as contractors and give them a 1099 at the end of the year, and they're all the taxes and Social Security on them. Just make sure you're open and honest about it when you do it, and they're not expecting anything else than that. But you can do that to make your life easier. Again, maybe talk with your attorney about that to make sure you're not violating any state laws that may be different, because each state is different. But you can do that to make it simpler for you. But hiring and firing is very difficult. Hiring people, most people who interview people don't know how to interview people. There is a strong disconnect between the world of recruiters and HR people and headhunters and the real people. And there's still this idea that businesses have the upper hand in this process. And one thing that drives me crazy, that there's a symbiotic relationship between these two. And it seems like, and now that we're all the way through all kinds of COVID stuff, that the businesses are back, thinking they're in control of everything. But really, what happens is they don't understand that they need people, and people bring something to the table, and it's a equal partnership. They believe they have the upper hand. They believe you have to put on a dog and pony show to impress them to get the job done. And the truth is, these people who do not know how to interview people are missing great people because someone didn't kiss their fanny, so to speak, in an interview, and they're going to find someone who will, and they get a worker who is not as good as the person that maybe came in and had the qualifications. So I encourage you, as a business owner or side hustler, when you start hiring people to putting on staff and you're actually going to give them a W-2 at the end of the year, become a good interviewer, and don't let your pride get you in the way where you think someone owes you something before you hire them. What you want them to do is bring skill set and productivity to your company, and you want to compensate them fairly. And then also, you need to know all the state laws and regulations, labor laws, overtime laws, minimum wage laws, maximum hour laws, or whatever they may be for your state. You want to make sure you're doing this stuff, and I encourage you to go above and beyond what's required. People, a key component to your business. And I would say, find ways to compensate them above and beyond what they normally expect, because replacing people, hiring people, and training people is expensive. And also then your service to your customers is downgraded during that time. So you want to make it hard for people to leave. You want them to love working for you so much it's really hard for them. Even if they have a better opportunity, like, man, this is such a great culture, we have great chemistry, I'm paid fairly, I get time off, all this thing. You want to make sure that you're doing that well, right? So I highly recommend that as the Chief Human Resources Officer. Also, you set the culture for your company. Make it a culture of fun. Make it a culture of overcoming. Make it a culture of excellent service. You set that. You can do job aids, best practices, guidelines, benefits. Know how you're going to approach situations. You have, say you're a small business, been in business for a year, and you're cruising right along, and you have somebody who's working for you that you love, and all of a sudden they have someone in their family who died. What are you going to do? Are you going to give them time off and pay them? It's best to think through all these eventualities before it happens and set up a guideline that can be administered fairly across the business. Talking about benefits, paid time off, what holidays you're going to pay them for, bereavement leave policy, maternity, paternity leave, all these things you need to think through in your business and kind of adjust your financial cash flow situations. So when those things come, it's not going to be a financial shock to your business, but you are anticipating and budgeting for it appropriately. So there you go. That's a lot, I know, in one small lesson, but that's the Chief Human Resources Officer, the Chief Legal Officer, and the Chief Technology Officer. These three areas could make or break your company. So I hope that these lessons that I've done from my book called Next Level have been a benefit and a blessing to you. I highly recommend you getting the book. It's available on Amazon for, I don't know, $13 or $5 for the ebook, and read through it. If you are an organization that would like someone to come speak to you, just reach out to me any way you can. Let me know that you want someone to come speak. I'm ready, willing, and able to come talk to church groups or business groups or whatever the case may be. And I have fun talking to people, and I can bring a bunch of books and give them, sell them at discount to your group. So, and one last thing, if you would, you can go on my website, theprofiteer.com, and you can find a spot there and sign up for my freebies. I have a whole bunch of digital downloads and opportunities for you to help you manage your money to the best of your ability. And there's also discount coupons and things of that nature in there. But just go to theprofiteer.com and you click on articles, and you'll get a pop-up window. All I want is your name and your address, email address. I don't sell it, don't trade it, don't give it away, and I honor that list. It's one of my favorite ways to communicate with people who are looking for financial help. So again, hope this has been a blessing to you. If it has been, like, subscribe, share, and I will see you soon with a new video. Until then, I dare you to profit, so that you can practice and promote radical, revolutionary generosity. Blessings.